is 1982. The first CD player has hit the market, Michael Jackson's music career was at its peak, and Disney's Epcot Park has finally opened. But pop culture isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about housing. Homelessness and food insecurity are a complex issue. There isn't an age, a gender identity, a race, a sexual orientation that defines the experience. Sometimes you're evicted due to your family size.
And we were being evicted because we had 4 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment, not because we were behind in rent.
Sometimes you were doing well for years before.
It was like at the time, before then, I was doing pretty well. I had a really good job, making really good money, and I always had good jobs and things. But when this particular thing happened, I didn't expect to be out of work as long as I was. And trying to catch up with part-time jobs, it just was almost impossible.
Your life can change in an instant, and the community at Family Promise Montco is here to support those changes and keep families together. From Ambler Supportive Housing to Interfaith of Ambler to Interfaith Housing Alliance and Family Promise Montco, PA, this organization has continued to adapt and grow for 40 years, and we are so proud that we get to share this journey with such an incredible community. It all started with the Interfaith Hospitality Network.
At First Presbyterian Church, in the parlor there, which was brand new, the Hilda Crockett parlor, we had about, 30 people. Some members of the congregation, and others were pastors or religious leaders.
Those congregations accepted the challenge of hosting families for a month at a time. Families would have a place to sleep and eat overnight.
When we were in here, we had access to so many things. We were lucky.
Along with a place to stay, families also had a support system. At the time, the staff of 2 relied heavily on volunteers, like Don Helpa, who was a financial advisor at the time and is still very involved with the network.
What that entailed was we would get together with the advocate and we would meet with a family and we would talk about what we wanted to see happen with them and for them.
Carolyn Moon was one of those family advocates.
Spirit came so strong to me that I decided to get up from my meditation. I found the telephone number it was Interfaith of Ambler then, and I called down here and I said, do you need volunteers? And whoever answered said, someone will get back with you soon. 5 minutes later, Lee Berry called, and that was the beginning.
As Carolyn began to volunteer more and more, she eventually became an employee of the organization.
We had great volunteers like Carolyn Moon, who was a volunteer admin for years, and we ultimately hired her.
Through her time as both an employee and a volunteer, she was able to have and witness some really important and incredible conversations.
And the children said to them as they parked in the parking lot and were walking to the meeting, Dad, why are people sleeping in the church or in the meeting house? And it gave that family a wonderful opportunity to talk about privilege, about self-esteem.
Some of those families sleeping in those spaces can still remember every detail of their time in the congregation. Residents like Leslie, who eventually moved into Hope Gardens and still has a piece of Hope Gardens in her home.
And I still have my chair. It is in my guest bedroom. And I will never get rid of it. I said I was going to maybe have it reupholstered, but then I don't want to forget what it looked like.
Interfaith of Ambler was off to a running start and had some big dreams for the future of the organization. Major strides were made in 1994. Hope Gardens was purchased and the process of providing transitional housing began. The food pantry in Abington has served families in Montgomery County since 1970 and became a part of our program in 2001. In 2017, the First Presbyterian Church of Ambler supported the purchase of Hope Forest on Forest Avenue in Ambler, our first supportive housing facility, followed in 2021 by Hope on 5th in Lansdale. In 2022, construction concluded on our new food pantry. Located on the property of Salem Baptist Church, this new space is brighter, bigger, and allows for an opportunity to support so many families.
We have one lady who comes and she has 7 children. Sometimes she has one of them with her in the car, but most of the time they're in school. I I don't know what she'd do without this place. She uses her SNAP benefits at the grocery store, and then she still has to come to us every 2 weeks. And it's such a good feeling to know we can help her out.
Which brings us to now. A total of 12 apartments to support families transitioning from homelessness to independence, over 20 congregations in the Interfaith Hospitality Network, a food pantry that supports over 1,800 individuals every year, and the most incredible community that supports Family Promise Montco endlessly as we fight to make a difference in Montgomery County. While so much has changed, the heart of the organization stays the same. And the families who have come through the program are changed forever.
Your heart stays here. It really does.
The groundbreaking ceremony of Hope Gardens was held on Sunday, October 23rd, 1994 at 2:00 p.m. Today, 28 years later, to the hour, we are celebrating this organization again. We had work to do 28 years ago, 40 years ago, and we have work to do now. Thank you for sticking with us for the last 40 years, and we can't wait to see what else we can do together in the next 40 years and beyond.